Hello everyone, Bertina Amy here, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I thought I would do a DIY Dollar Tree Peppermint Wreath. So in today's video, I thought I would do my first Christmas DIY, and I'm going to work on this bicycle wheel wreath from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to cut this tag off. And I'm going to get back to my wrapping method because I'm kind of obsessed. And at my local Dollar Tree, they had these two different shades of red ribbon. And me personally, I'm in love with this one. So for this project, I'm actually going to use this one. And I would have gotten only this one for all these projects I'm going to be doing this year, except that at my local Dollar Tree, you have to get what you can, and they had a mix. This is pretty too, but I like a deeper red myself. So anyway, we're gonna start off this project with this one. Ooh, and the material is different too. This one's gonna feel more smooth, I can tell by looking at it. This one has more of a velvety feel to it, even though it doesn't say it's velvet. It feels more like velvet. I think that's a better look at it. So I'm gonna, as always, remove it completely from the spool. And because of how my last project went, I know for a fact I don't need this whole thing for each section, but I am gonna do, as always, work on one pie section each time. See, this one says it's 9 feet, and I definitely know that half is still more than enough ribbon. I'm gonna try for doing this and splitting it. I'm gonna split this whole thing into thirds. So what I did was I took my ruler, and because it's 9 feet, I want 3 feet. I wrapped it around. So, and then I'm gonna repeat that for the remaining ribbon. Okay, here are my 3 strands out of the one spool, and I'm going to go ahead and find the center of all 3 of these, then fold them in half again lengthwise. And here are my 3 ribbons folded in half both ways, and now I'm going to take one of them and start wrapping. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start. It doesn't really matter which one of these sort of pie shapes that we use. There's my center. I'm going to just start here. Okay, wrap it around. Get it as taut as you can because we want to make sure we have more than enough ribbon. And then doing sort of a braid. Okay, I'm going to save the last wrapping around until all of these are put on, but I'm going to start with making sure off camera I'm going to do every other section, then we'll come back and I'll tell you what we're going to do for the next part. And here are all the red ribbons attached, and we're going to start the white part. So for the white part, I thought it would be good to use the remaining part of this fur that I picked up last year from Five Below. This was $5. It's really hard to get white ribbon at a reasonable price. Dollar Tree doesn't sell basically like any white ribbon that's like solid white. So I thought, since I already have this, I may as well use it. And I have 2 thoughts that I wanted to share about how to go about using this. So one way you could decide to use this, since we are going to use a second wreath form, is to take this and take the other one, take this other one and kind of just layer it on top with, I'm sorry, not on top like that quite exactly, but put this on top like this, and then this can go on top. But I don't want to do it this way. Instead, what I want to do is I want to cut a strip of this fabric and I want to do my wrapping method. So the thing about cutting a strip down is, I mean, I have plenty of this fabric, I'm not concerned. And this is experimental, I haven't done it with this kind of material before, but when I cut it, I want it to be able to show the fluffy side only. And so I'm going to treat it like the previous ribbon where I folded it in half, and then I'm going to do the wraparound. But first I'm going to cut it. And I'm not worried about it being perfect. I'm going to cut it slightly wider just because I want to make sure that I can make it look nice and seamless, if that makes sense. And then I'll cut more if I need it. I don't know that I will because it's not like I need it for big sections. Okay, so here's my strip. Make sure it's folded in half. I'm going to just start wrapping. I'll do one section on camera and then the rest I will do off camera. And I just wanted to have enough. I'm trying to get it to be more like a rope. And this is, you could use, if you have that sort of fluffy yarn, I forget what it's called, but if you have that fluffy type yarn, you can use that instead. I don't, but that would work just as well. I think I'm going to need more than that. Okay. I don't know how this is going to go just because I don't know if I went right over left. Okay, make sure to only have the fluffy side showing. Right over left. Careful it can't get caught on things like wire, or if you're wearing a ring. Okay, I don't have to wrap it so tight. I don't need it huge and fluffy. And then I'm just going to trim off some excess. Then I'm going to do the other sections off camera, and then we're going to wrap this up on camera. And here is the white part, and we're going to take the red, and this fluffy stuff is probably gonna, because I cut it, it's probably gonna fall onto the red and kind of shed for a little while until it sheds plenty. So we're just going to move all the red flaps to be on top. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how to attach using the red one first on camera. I'll do one on camera, do the rest off camera. Okay, so we're not going to make this tight because we want to make sure, we don't want to make this tight because we want to make sure that we could get everything attached and tightened down first. Once everything's wrapped around, then we can tighten everything all around. But anyway, let's start with the red. And we're going to start with the one that's overlapped. We're going to go around the 2 bars and then through the back end. And then from the one underneath, we're going to go around and through the loop, so making like a knot. Okay, I'm going to do the rest off camera. Okay, so I'm going to show you on camera how to do the white. It's the same thing as the left. So, hang on. So it's right over left. Okay, we're going to do the right side first. Pull this through. And then this one can go over here. Okay, and then we're going to pull it all taut. Doing all the red ones first because they're going to be easier to pull taut. Alright, unfortunately some of them have some gaps. So I'm trying to tug on it because I don't have enough ribbon to start all over, and yeah, I do recommend only cutting it in half. Do not do thirds. 2/3 is going to be way too tight. So if you were to do this project, it would look great if you just made sure that you only cut it in half, and make sure to get 3 rolls, not just 2. And if they don't have that, then you're going to have to get 3 rolls of whatever shade of red you can get, basically. So I'm just trying to tug it so there's no gap. Okay, so here's everything all reattached, and I've come to realize that no matter what I do, because of the way this material is, it's almost kind of papery, it tends to want to keep this gap no matter what. It doesn't matter how much I tug and pull, it just tends to want to stay. So I'm just going to have to figure out something to do with that. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hot glue pieces to the back, and I'll come back when that's done. Okay, so here is the peppermint wreath, and now it's about embellishing and covering up any of the, I guess I'd call it mishaps. It's, again, not perfect, but hopefully it's well liked. Anyway, so now my goal is to embellish this, and I'm thinking of even covering up these holes in some way. So here we have the finished piece base for my peppermint wreath. You can see I have the gaps, as I mentioned earlier, and I noticed the back side was super pretty, so I'm going to just flip it over. And look at this. You can actually see the metallic red all throughout, and it's got that weaving look that you can see more clearly on camera than this side. You can still see it on this side, but the white covers up a lot of that red, and I actually really like this look better. But of course, if you're making this and you decide you want to use this side as the front, feel free to go ahead and do so. I'm going to go ahead and use this as the front, even though initially it was the back. And I don't even mind this sort of like edging that I have going on. I did glue everything down already. I'm going to just fix up this one little spot right here. Okay. Either way, that's probably not going to be that noticeable. But I picked up these king poinsettias in white, and I just pulled one of them off. And I'm going to use this as my center, and I'm going to hot glue that down. I already did the arrangements off camera just to make sure I liked the way it was going to look. Then I also picked up these velvet poinsettias, and they are almost exactly the same shade, if not exactly. It's very, very close, maybe slightly, ever so slightly deeper in color. And I pulled off 6. So it's going to look like this. So it's going to cover up any of that imperfect, you could arrange it so that you don't see any of the imperfections that you don't want to see. And I like that. I think that looks so pretty. So I'm just going to lay them out, make sure I know which flower I want where specifically. I'll do the white one last. And I actually kind of like the little bit of overhang on these red ones. Kind of want the longer, like this side for some reason seems maybe longer, so I kind of want that facing the other direction. Let's see, do I want, so maybe like that. Actually, I like that better, yeah. So just kind of play around with it. Some of the petals are longer than others, so you'll have to play around with it until you like the arrangement that it's in. Okay, I think that's looking good. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue these in their spots. Okay, so I went ahead and glued some of the petals down so that way nothing is just folded up and bent out of shape, kind of. I'm gonna glue a little bit more of this down so that it doesn't seem to be sticking out. Okay, and last but not least, I'm gonna go ahead and figure out my best placement for this white flower. The goal I have is to I'm trying not to cover up too much of the red because I do want that to show through. If I did something like, if I did want to cover up the red, that's how it would look. You would see much less of that work that we put into it. So I'm actually going to make sure to glue it so that instead only some of the red is covered up, not all of it, if that makes sense. There's only 5 petals on this flower versus 6 pie sections of this peppermint wreath. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this in the center. And the only parts I want glued down are the largest parts. Actually, I'm okay with just doing that one because these are nice and flat otherwise. And last but not least, let's grab a pipe cleaner to make a hanger. We really don't need this large of one, but we're gonna go with it because I got plenty of these. So I'm just going to, I don't know which side I want as my top versus my bottom. I suppose I'll do this part as my top. I don't want it to be totally noticeable. I do have excess material, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch right here where the ends meet and then just do several twists. Okay, and then I'm going to hot glue this in the back, and to make sure it's extra secure, I can cut off a small piece of this and then tons of hot glue. And let that set. And here's the final result. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.